You're tuned in to the Brand Ambassador Select Podcast.
Welcome back to the Brand Ambassador Select Podcast, where we are building connections, showcasing the impressive, and inspiring movers and makers. I'm your host, Lenore, and today's episode is brought to you by Refining Clean, a unique hand sanitizer by Health First Direct. You won't find a better pedigree for hand sanitizer anywhere else. So we've invited Sal Guttadauro, the founder and retirement income planning specialist at Safe Financial Solutions, Inc. on this episode. We're joined by his daughter as well, Andrea Angeletti. She's the marketing coordinator and client relationship manager. So Sal exclusively helps pre-retirees and retirees build customized financial strategies using fixed insurance and annuity products while specializing in retirement income strategies. Sal, you've been helping out numerous amount of people, not just throughout like Monmouth and Ocean County, but over your life on planning their retirements. What really got you into that sort of like lifestyle?
Well, it all stems back from 1979. When I started in the business as a result of my dad passing away and my mom not having the kind of income and needed, monies to move forward in life. And I found that most people today, that's probably one of their biggest concerns, is having enough money when they do retire, because that's a fear. It's a fear that most people have in running out of money and it not lasting as long as you do.
How do you make that happen?
Well, we use specialized instruments, financial instruments such as annuities and life insurance and various other products to build a sound financial profile. In other words, what I mean by that is very simple. You have a paycheck that's needed when you retire, and then you have a playcheck that's needed when you retire. The playcheck is taking the grandkids to the movies, going on vacation, spoiling your spouse, whatever it may be. But in addition, if you don't satisfy that basic need of the mortgage, the electric, the food, the car insurance, the health insurance, all of those things, and know that that's taken care of, it's really hard to have a enjoyable retirement if those things are pressing on you every day of your retired life.
So Andrea, I bet your retirement fund's looking pretty good these days if he's been taking control over all these years.
Well, if it's one thing that that Dad's taught me about mistakes that people make in planning their retirement is that they wait too long to do it.
So when do you start?
Well, I truly believe that it should start in school. Okay,
Which grade?
I really do. I mean, when kids enter high school, there should be some type of class that they're required to take in knowing how to.
They're required to retire.
I gotcha.
Not required to take it.
No, required to take in. Don't be funny.
Yeah, your tongue twisted.
Required to take in teaching them how to manage a checkbook, how to invest for later on, teaching them financial responsibility. And I truly believe that most people, if you ask them what a mistake is that they've made in their lives, right, is I should have learned sooner, I should have acted sooner. So most of our clients who are pretty much approaching retirement and are in retirement, I tell them to teach their grandchildren. Because don't wait for school to teach it to them, because that's a fundamental property that you're going to use throughout your whole life.
Yeah, I think I've said this to one other person, but I think the only class that I had, and it was in middle school, and it was just I had to balance a checkbook, and then I made pizza on English muffins and home ec at the same time. That was the only time I had classes like that, because I think my grade I wasn't required for like a financial literacy class. And it wasn't until like one of my younger brothers got into high school that they made those things a requirement.
Yeah, I didn't have any of those either. It was very like, meager, you had economics and statistics, but like,
did you want to take economics and statistics?
No, but there's no practical applications of anything. And I think at the end of the day, when you're looking at it, you're saying, retirement planning, it's like not something that people are excited to do. Mm-hmm. But if you look at what it allows you to do when you do retire, you don't want to be sitting around and not able to take the vacation you want and drive the car that you want and take care of things. A lot of people
in their retirement years, even though they may have money, are apprehensive in spending it because they're not sure if they're properly positioned. Okay, and what I mean by that is, as you start out in your financial life, you're in what's called the accumulation phase. You try to accumulate as much money as possible. Now, don't forget, as you early on get married, buy a house, raise your kids, pay for education, you don't get to save a whole lot of money, but yet you're being a little bit aggressive with that because you want to try and grow that as much as possible. And once the kids are out of the house and you got that 10 or 15 year, bracket where now you could start socking it away and save as much as possible, people are still taking that chance. Now, when they retire, they have actually had a fundamental shift in their lifestyle, but they are actually still investing the same way. So I tell most people, if you haven't made it by now at 60, 65, right, don't risk the little or the lot that you have in retirement. There's no need to do that anymore. All the wants and needs are all satisfied. Now it's just enjoying your life with your wife, enjoying your retirement. There was a Harvard study that was done, and they interviewed all of these married couples age 80 and better. And they asked them, if you had the choice to go back to any 10-year period of your life, 20s to 30s, 30s to 40s, 40s to 50s, and so on, what period would you go back to? And the number one answer was 60s to 70s. And the reason was they were healthy, they knew what was important, they had money, and they had their health. So they could really, really enjoy that time. Sometimes we can't bring people back to their 60s to 70s, but we can help them enjoy their 70s to 80s. And that's the point of the retirement planning that we do. And that's why we are a little different than the average broker. Let's just put it that way.
So how do we get involved? Like if I say, what do I do? Like give you a check and say, here's my money, invest it?
You could always give me a check.
How does that work?
Okay. So we work with various financial organizations, and our process is very simple. It's not a 1, 2, 3 process. You come in, you chat with us, we get to know you a little bit. We ask you to fill out a whole bunch of paperwork so we know what your finances are and so on and so forth. Then we'll do a case study on you. You'll come back a second time, perhaps a third time, perhaps a fourth time. And then when we know that we have got it right, because we can't make a mistake. When you're 60, 70, and 80, we don't have 30 years to make up a mistake, right? So the point is when we do that, and if someone wants to get involved, then we would, proceed in setting up a plan for them and working with the various insurance companies and financial offices that we work with.
So Andrea, as running like the marketing side, how do you market it towards the younger generation or even your peers on why it's important to start planning your retirement now?
That's a really good question. I think, in light of everything that's been going on in the past few months in these unprecedented times, my dad has always had great relationships with his existing customers, and we're really starting to push things as far as digital marketing goes, where we really didn't have a presence before. And now we're trying to get all of our clients' children involved in the process too, because I think that's really important. Dad's put together something really great called a personal financial inventory binder. So say if it was this example, my dad would have a binder that outlines everything that he owns, all of his financial assets, life insurance, his mortgage, anything pertinent. And it would be great for me to look at and say, okay, this is everything that Dad has, and I know how to approach this if in the event anything happens to my father. Mm-hmm. So we want to make sure that the children are a part of that conversation too, because they're going to become their parents later on. So, making sure the whole family is informed. It's you really don't want to have that kind of a headache when and if somebody passes. Mm-hmm. But getting the whole family together really just makes them more aware of their own situation as well. Maybe they want to get more organized and plan better also.
As you can imagine, when someone passes, whether it's a spouse, any member of the family, there's this chaos.
Who gets the money?
there's this chaos.
But
Well, that's where
where
a
is
will,
their
a
money
will and a
do-
trust
like,
come in,
where
right?
is
But
it? Do they have it?
Do
I
you
don't
have
know.
it? Do I
Like,
call you?
there's a
Right.
chaos of opening up all the drawers and all the file cabinets and trying to find
Something.
all of the documents needed to kind of put things in order. So this binder that we created just sits on the shelf. Your child, your wife, your cousin, your aunt, your uncle, your brother, your sister, all they'd have to do is kind of pull it off the shelf and, oh, these are all the assets. Oh, this is where they're located. Oh, here is the will. Here's the tax returns. Everything is in one spot. And I wouldn't say that we're the only person that does that for our clients. But if you wanted that with a major player in the market space, you'd spend thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars doing that. And we do that for our clients free of charge.
That's actually really useful because I was always the one that my name was under everything.
Right.
And then like my brother graduated college and everything went under his because he's more of like the
Right.
business savvy, knows the
Right.
numbers and stuff better than I would.
Right.
Because I would probably be like Andrea, like you said, I'd pull it out and be like, help.
Is this old? Is it
SOS.
current? Like,
How do
right.
I read this? What are the legalities under everything? So I think that's a very important aspect to really implement, not just in your clients, but in their children and future generations in
And
general.
also with spouses, most households, it's either the husband handles all the finances or the wife handles all the finances. I was with a young man last night and I was asking him about the family budget. And he says, well, it's a lot. I said, well, like what's a lot? The fact is that he really didn't know because they really never sat down together and shared this information. Because if he were to die, she'd be okay. But if she were to die, he'd have a problem. He wouldn't know where to start.
Listen, I don't even know the passwords to like pay the electrical bill.
Well, there's
Yeah.
that too.
I need that first.
Yeah.
Being organized very important for you and everyone in your
so
family.
so this process, as I said, of retirement planning, and also legacy planning. A lot of people would say, okay, well, I have this $100,000 over here, and this is for Sonny Boy when he dies, or my granddaughter, or my grandson, or whoever it may be. You could sometimes reposition that money and create a tax-free death benefit of maybe twice or three times in utilizing the money. So there's a lot of creative ways, and that's how rich people stay rich, folks. Okay, they take advantage of the tax laws
Yes.
and life insurance trusts and living trusts and things of that nature. And that's the kind of stuff that we share with people because that's what's going to make the difference. We are truly a boutique type of operation.
What are you looking forward to in retirement?
That's a great question, Sal.
Here's what I look
Is Dad
forward to.
retiring soon?
I think I'll retire when I'm about 90 because I truly love what I do and I really don't consider it work. What I mean by retire by 90, I won't work 5 days a week, but I think 1 or 2, maybe 3 days a week.
You got to see what she's up to.
I got to make sure.
Oh, yeah.
I love dealing with our clients, but retirement to me means, number one, having my health and the ability to do anything I want when I want to do it and not worry about it.
True. You want to live a carefree life and just
That's it. Just a peaceful life. Knowing that I don't have to be a super millionaire. I don't have to have the greatest of everything. I just want to have that tranquility within, that peace within, to know, hey, I could do this. I can go here. I could take care of my grandchildren or my children or whoever it may be, and feel good about that. And that's what retirement should be. It should be a good feeling because you've worked 20, 30, 40 years,
basically your whole life.
right, to accumulate something, right? Whether it's a whole lot or a little, and you should not have to worry about that, but enjoy it and then ultimately transfer it on to your family.
So because your company is, you said, a boutique company, can individuals who are not part of Monmouth and Ocean County, New Jersey, if they're like from Kansas, Texas, California, are they still allowed to be a part of your family?
Well, they could. We have partners all around the country I know people that do pretty much the same thing I do in different parts of the country, so that would not be a problem. We welcome everyone.
That's wonderful. Maybe I'll give you a call. Andrea, I'll give you a call.
It's 732-747-2222. We got a real easy number.
There we go. So it is 732-747-2222. You can email Sal at sal@safefs.com. So you can find them on Facebook too at Safe Financial FB. That is facebook.com/safefinancialfb. Safefinancialsolutions.com for all that information. Sal, Andrea, thanks so much for joining us. Would you like to leave the listeners with any last words of wisdom or advice from both of you?
Sure.
I'm not leaving it just to you, Sal.
Sure. I would say this to most people who are pre-retirees and retirees. The first 10 years prior to your retirement are crucial in the planning process. Do not neglect the planning process. And the next 10 years will predicate how the balance of it goes on, how you adjust fundamentally, financially, and I guess emotionally, not to get up and have to go to work every year. So that 20-year span is quite important. But the most thing I want to say to most people is live a stress-free, happy, enjoyable retirement, and most importantly, with good health.
And Andrea, how about yourself?
Can
you top that?
I don't know. I mean, I usually say if you don't plan to fail, then don't fail to plan.
Okay.
That's a good one.
Dad is a really good educator. So if you just need some information and guidance and clarity on what to do and creating a better vision for yourself, you are the driver. We will give you the directions on how to get there.
Is that what he taught you?
Well, my line is you are the pilot and I'm the navigator. Tell me where you want to go and I'll help you get there.
Okay, so I have a while to go before I get
Yeah, we got some time.
And one last thing. When I first started in this business at 19 years old, my first boss sat me down and he said, the most important thing is the future belongs to those who prepare for it. And the future is now. Make sure you plan for your future now.
So you have safefinancialsolutions.com. That is Sal. We have Andrea. Thank you so much for joining us today and giving us all the details on your company. Once again, the number 732-747-2222, safefinancialsolutions.com. You can email Sal at safefs.com, and also on Facebook, facebook.com/safefinancialfb. Thank you both of us for joining us today.
Thank you very much for having us.
And that's a wrap on another episode of the Brand Ambassador Select podcast. Hit that subscribe button so you never miss one. More at brandambassadorselect.com, and we will see you next time.